Our government is letting U.S. food companies get away with serving American citizens harmful ingredients that are banned or heavily regulated in other countries. Even worse, American food companies are selling the same exact products overseas without these chemicals, but choose to continue serving us the most toxic version here. It's un-American. Let me give you some examples of McDonald's French fries. In the US, there's 11 ingredients. In the UK, there's 3, and salt is optional. An ingredient called dimethylpolysiloxane is an ingredient preserved with formaldehyde, a neurotoxin, in the US version. This is used as a foaming agent so they don't have to replace the oil that often, making McDonald's more money here in the United States. But they don't do that across the pond. This is Skittles. Notice the long list of ingredient differences. 10 artificial dyes in the US version and titanium dioxide. This ingredient is banned in Europe because it can cause DNA damage. Artificial dyes are made from petroleum, and products containing these dyes require a warning label in Europe that states it may cause adverse effects on activity and detention in children. And they have been linked to cancer and disruptions in the immune system. This on the screen back here is Gatorade. In the US, they use red 40 and caramel color. In Germany, they don't. They use carrot and sweet potatoes to color their Gatorade. General Mills is definitely playing some tricks on us. They launched a new version of Trix just recently in Australia. It has no dyes. They even advertise that, when the US version still does. This is why I became a food activist. My name is Vani Hari, and I only want one thing. I want Americans to be treated the same way as citizens in other countries by our own American companies. In the last 60 years, almost all food additives were being created for one sole purpose: to improve the bottom line of the food industry and not improve our health. These chemicals were created to mimic real food, to make it easier and cheaper for food manufacturers to preserve their food, to make it last longer on the shelf, to help manufacturing, and sinister of all, to allow them to create products that are more addictive in nature.
This is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and verse 3, and it reads, "An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited." All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Double salutations to our Yuakim out there laboring. The house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit of the Rakah Quadash. And as much as possible, we must stop eating the king's meat, pursuant to Daniel, the first chapter, which we'll get into that in a second. But I want to jump into this article here as the headline it reads, and this came out a few days ago. So it says, national, nearly 10 million pounds of meat, poultry recalled nationwide over Listeria risk. Okay, everything we need here to survive is either polluted, defiled, or destroyed. All right. And seeing this video here, it should all make sense now. All right. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 10, and it reads, it says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction." So everything that we consume on a daily basis is defiled. It's destroyed. You know, it's of no benefit for our bodies, for our health. All right, because we're in a time where these elites are basically culling off society. All right, they're killing people through, you know, so-called medicine, the food, the air, and the water. You know, this is a real war. It's a real food war. It's a real war on your health, as she was saying. You know, this is Ezekiel chapter 4 and Let's start up a little bit. Ezekiel 4:11, it says, thou shalt drink also water by measure, the sixth part of an hin, from time to time shalt thou drink, right? And see, we drink water through the plastic bottles. You got to pay for water. It says, and thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of a man in their sight, man. Because, hey, even this video circulating on the internet of, Moab and Ammon, creating meat from human feces, man. Can't make this up. Ezekiel 4:13, the point it says, in the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them, right? So our bread that we consume, the meat that we eat, it's all defiled,
There's another huge recall tonight involving meat and possible Listeria contamination.
So Oklahoma-based Bruce Pack has recalled nearly 10 million pounds of ready-to-eat meat and poultry items. The recalled products were produced between June 19th and October 8th and shipped to restaurants and stores nationwide. So far, there have been no reports of illness or death, but this comes right after that Boar's Head Listeria outbreak that's killed at least 10 people. ABC's Melissa Don has more on what you need to know about Listeria.
Listeria is a dangerous bacteria found in a wide range of foods, including deli meats, unpasteurized dairy, and even produce. This year, dozens of Americans have been sickened, and at least 10 people have died in a Listeria outbreak. The outbreak has been traced back to Boar's Head brand meats sliced at delis, as well as ready-to-eat liverwurst that were contaminated with Listeria, according to the CDC. Listeria can survive in refrigerated temperatures and on surfaces like meat slicers. Symptoms can take weeks to appear. They include fever, muscle aches, and in severe cases, headache, confusion, and death. To avoid Listeria, regularly clean your refrigerator, food containers, and surfaces that have come in contact with questionable foods. High-risk groups, pregnant women, the elderly, and those with weakened immune systems should avoid deli meats unless heated to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. If you feel sick after consuming risky foods, contact your doctor immediately. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Don.
All right, so apparently this meat has been distributed to grocery stores and restaurants nationwide, man. And this is why I said, as much as possible, we have to stop consuming this defiled meat, man. And I want to get into that, Daniel, the first chapter here, because I was thinking about that, man. It's just, what's going on right now concerning the food supply and the war on the food and the shit that they putting in the chicken and the cows, the parasites, the fish, everything is just toxic waste, man. This is why we need to be delivered. This is why we need Yahweh Shemel Shai to get us out of here, man, or no flesh will be saved. All right, but let me get into Daniel, the first chapter. I was just thinking about that when I was reading some of these articles or whatnot. So let's go to, this is Daniel, the first chapter, all right, and we'll just read down. So this is Daniel 1:1, the choice young men. So Daniel chapter 1, verse 1, it says, in the third year and reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of the Most High, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of his God, and he brought vessels into the treasure of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed and of the princes, children of whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and in knowledge and understanding science, and had the ability, and such had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, in whom they might teach the learning in the tongue of the Chaldeans. Verse 5, it says, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, right? And of the wine which he drank, So nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, which also are the three holy children written in the Apocrypha. All right. Verse 7, it says, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah Shadrach, and to Mishael Meshach, and to Azariah Abednego. All right, verse 8 here. It says, this is the point I'm making here, Daniel 1 and 8. It says, but Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now I was looking up some stuff about, the king's meat here. And I thought this was a good answer, right, through the Spirit. But just looking up some information about this point. So it says there are two primary, though related, reasons for why Daniel would not eat the king's food and drink. It says Daniel was an Israelite, Daniel 1 and 3, of the tribe of Judah, as we read. Daniel 1 and 6, it says he would be bound by the dietary laws regarding clean and unclean foods. All right. See commands, for example, at Leviticus 11:46. Let's get that real quick. All right. Which I got pulled up here. So this is Leviticus 11:45. It says, for I am the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt to be your power. Ye should therefore be holy, for I am holy. Verse 46. There is the law of beast, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth. Verse 47, the point, it says, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that they may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten. So the Lord set up dietary laws on what animals were lawful and clean for us to eat, and what laws were unclean for us not to eat. You see? So going back to the thing here, it says, read this again. Daniel was an Israelite, Daniel 1 and 3, of the tribe of Judah, Daniel 1 and 6. He would be bound by the dietary laws regarding clean and unclean foods. It says as well, there was preparation and cooking instructions to be followed. Daniel had no control over these things, and as regards the food, but only vegetables and water, right? It says the point here, it says the other reason is most likely the king's food would have been offered to idols before eating. You see, this too was not permitted, right? It says it was the custom to throw a small part of the viands and wine upon the earth as an initiatory offering to the gods, so as to consecrate them to consecrate to them the whole entertainment. All right. So pretty much, as it says, so the evidence from Scripture about why Daniel would not eat basically boils down to it was against their covenant. Exactly. So either the king's meat was most likely offered to idols, and it was probably unclean. And that's the same thing, essentially what we're dealing here with now, because even though we're eating our food defiled and things like that, because the scriptures say that when we eat, we're pretty much eat poison and live. We will eat our bread defiled amongst the Gentiles. So the only thing we could really do is pray over the food and try to as much as possible consume less of this of the king's meat. Prepare your body to fast more. And I'll get that too, but I want to finish this out, right? Because what happened when Daniel didn't eat the king's meat, right? So let's read this again, Daniel 1 and 8. But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. You see? It says, now the Most High had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who have appointed your meat and your drink, For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall you make me endanger my head to the king, right? It says, then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat. And this pulse is talking about the vegetables, all right? Fruits and vegetables, right? Let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. So that's all they ate was the pulse and the water, right? Then let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat the portion of the king's meat, as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So it says, verse 14, so he consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days. All right. So they did the, you had a group that ate the king's meat for 10 days, and you had Daniel and Hananiah and Mishael and Azariah eat the pulse and the water, right, for 10 days. It says, at the end of the 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portions of the king's meat. You see that? And that's the point that I was thinking about, man. Their countenance fared better than the ones that ate the king's defiled meat, is the point. It says, then Melchizedek took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink and gave them pulse. As for these 4 children, the Most High gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. So the point is that Daniel and Hananiah and Mishael and Azariah, the 4 of them fared better than those who ate the king's meat. All right, going back to the point of fasting, because I want to pull this up. This is why we got to learn to fast more. Showing some benefits of fasting here and what it does to the body.
Health Boss. Let's talk about the hourly benefits of what you experience when you do a fast. So, 48 hours into a fast, blood sugar levels fall, all food has left the stomach, insulin is no longer produced. 12 hours later, food consumed has been burned, the digestive system now goes to sleep. Next, the body begins the healing process. Human growth hormone begins to increase. Glucagon is released into the bloodstream to help balance out blood sugar levels. 14 hours later, the body is now converted all the used stored fat into energy. Next, human growth hormones start to increase dramatically. Now, 16 hours into it, the body starts to ramp up fat burning. 18 hours into it, guess what? Human growth hormone, once again, it starts to skyrocket. 24 hours into the fast now, you experience what's called autophagy. Autophagy is literally when all the cells that no longer serve you are shed and replenished and replaced by lively, strong, healthy cells. Next, drains all glycogen stores. Next, ketones are now released into the bloodstream. 36 hours into it, autophagy now increases 300%. 48 hours into this, autophagy now increases 30%. Now your immune system is just hit. It's reset, it's regenerated, and you've increased the reduction in inflammation response in your body. Now, 72 hours into a fast, autophagy maxes out. So there you have it. Food for thought. Fasting.
Right. So pretty much fasting, it restores the body's health. There's a lot of major benefits behind fasting, right? Research shows fasting regenerates damaged immune systems. Exactly, man. And see, they're damaging our immune systems through this toxic ass food. Everything that we heard in the video, the toxic ingredients in these products that people consume on a daily basis. This is why you have to get into fasting and refrain yourself from eating, all of this defiled food. We're not going to read all of this, but they did they did the scientific study at the University of Southern California, and it says prolonged fasting, not eating for 2 or 4 sequential days at a time, has been shown to regenerate the immune system and protect it from further damage. You see, it says specifically the researchers show that prolonged fasting triggers stem cell-based regeneration of white blood cells by reducing levels of an enzyme known as protein kinase A, or PKA. Earlier research has shown that PKA reduction is quite potent and promoting stem cell regeneration and pluripotency, in addition, extending longevity, all right, extending your life. It is also shown to decrease levels of insulin-like growth factor, IGF-1, a hormone that has been linked to tumor progression, aging, and cancer, you see? So fasting regenerates the body, man. And Esau knows this, as this was always part of our ancient customs, you know? But the point here, right, you know, is refrain from the king's meat as much as you can. You know, it'd be more beneficial to your body, all right, because they're clearly, you know, out to unalive people, you know. So I pray that this quick lesson was edifying. You know, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem HaKadosh. Shalom.